At Charity Charge, our mission is to power yours. Most banks and financial service providers weren't built for nonprofits. They don't understand your structure or how you operate. That's why we exist. We proudly serve more than 3,000 organizations across the US, offering tools built exclusively for the sector. From credit cards and expense management to bookkeeping and gift cards, every solution is designed to help you minimize operations and supercharge your impact. And we're more than just financial services. We're an educational community. We share resources every day on our podcast, blog, and webinars to help you stay informed, compliant, and empowered. Visit charitycharge.com to learn more and join the community. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Charity Charge Show. This is your host, Grayson Harris, and today we are joined by Dan Lusk. He is the executive director of Momentum Refresh. And we're really excited to have him on to share a little bit more about this journey, almost kind of startup, right? That Dan is kind of helping lead into the next years. Dan, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Hey, it's great to be here, Grayson. Thanks so much for having us. Really appreciate the opportunity today.
Of course. And, Dan, can you tell myself and our audience a little bit more about the work that you're doing with Momentum Refresh and the need that you identified that really kind of needed to be solved?
Absolutely. Really appreciate the opportunity. Momentum Refresh, our mission is really to truly break down barriers to accessibility and inclusion for people everywhere, all across the country, events, venues, whatever it might be. Our accessible mobile restrooms are really empowering people to become an active member of their communities. Really, simply put, we're just trying to make everywhere welcoming. Momentum Refresh is the first universally designed, fully accessible, ADA compliant mobile restroom in the United States. And we are impacting lives at events and venues nationwide. If you've never been impacted by or have lived experience with disability, you likely know someone who has. And imagine just being that person with a disability or a disabled veteran or someone with limited mobility, maybe a senior or a family that has a family member with a disability and they need to provide personal care. And being so thrilled that you've got this next big community event coming up, whether it be a concert or an arts festival or a county fair or the state fair, or even think bigger than that. Some of the major events that we have happening across our country, whether it be the Super Bowl or the NBA All-Star Game or some of the major mega events coming to the United States like FIFA World Cup Soccer and the Olympics and Paralympics, and being just thrilled about being able to go to those events. Now imagine that you realize that you can't go, not because you don't want to, but because there are no truly accessible restrooms that meet your need. This is really a basic unmet human right, if you would. And it's really not okay. And we're making a change here. Really is time for change, and we're making it happen with Momentum Refresh. Our units are not just ADA compliant. We far exceed the standards with a powered, height adjustable, full size, adult size changing table, or height adjustable sink. So if you're a child in a wheelchair, you can wheel under the sink and bring it down to your height. The toilet has height and width adjustable arm grab bars, so they fit the person just perfectly for their needs. Each of our units has an overhead ceiling hoist for safe and easy transfers from a wheelchair to the accessible amenities in our unit. They're powered, so they have air heat, full ventilation. The water is temperature controlled, so they also have a showering capacity, so we can deploy during emergencies and disasters. And each of our units is staffed by a professionally trained ambassador for safety, quality, and sanitation. They're cleaned after every use. And probably as importantly, we're based in California. We have a California CASP certification on each of our units from a certified accessibility specialist with the division of the state architect, which means each unit has a certificate stating that they meet or exceed all accessibility standards, and people with disabilities can use the units without exception. We've been really super fortunate We've gotten some global recognition as well. Refresh received the Fast Company's World Changing Ideas Award in the Enterprise category and the Anthem Awards Top Gold Awards in both human and civil rights and innovation. So we're super excited about getting some recognition for the work that we're doing as well. We are a mission driven business enterprise of our parent company, Momentum, a Southern California based nonprofit organization, formerly known as United Cerebral Palsy of Los Angeles. And we've been supporting people with disabilities for over 80 years, disabilities and medical conditions. Um, in the Los Angeles, Ventura, Santa Barbara County areas, 6,500 to 7,000 people. And with some of our additional affiliate organizations, we have a global reach as well, impacting the lives of over 100,000 people annually with over 1,400 amazing employees. So that's a little bit about Momentum Refresh and the work we're doing to enhance accessibility, inclusion, and really equality across the country as a part of our overall parent company Momentum based out of the LA area.
Love that, and, thank you so much for, really walking myself, down the work, the impact, and really the need. And, something I think has really exemplified the need for, kind of the solution that y'all are providing is the rapid growth, right, that y'all have seen in the last few years. Y'all started in 2022, the first events, kind of the very foundations. Can you talk to me a little bit more about what last year looked like in terms of the amount of events that you were able to go to and what that impact looked like?
Yeah, I sure will. I'll first start by talking a little bit about the thought leadership in this area. We were in research and development for 4 to 5 years, starting in 2017 timeframe, really developing the concept. The state of California reached out to us and said, "What's the biggest barrier in supporting people with disabilities to truly engage and be active in their communities?" And some of our frontline caregivers, people with disabilities, said truly accessible restrooms. So we embarked upon this with the impetus of supporting people really get engaged in the community. And we went through a lot of research and development, engineering design, the CASP certification. We had this consultant on board with us to make sure every iteration of our design met and exceeded ADA compliance. Went through legal review, transportation review, licensing with the health departments, and we started locally with the people that we supported, and it has grown and grown to the point in, like you mentioned, in 2022, when we really reached out and started supporting events all around the country. I don't know if I had mentioned to you before, but did you know that 1 in 4 adults in America lives with some form of disability? So we're talking about over 60 million people in the
Mm,
United States. So that kind of lays the foundation for the need and the demand and the desire to really help and support organizations and events and venues meet the needs of this population. If you wouldn't mind, I'd like to share a graphic with you, and I can
yeah,
talk through some of the stats if I could here. Let
yeah,
me
go
just see if
ahead.
I can pull this up here for you. I think I'll just talk through them. We had mentioned in the number of events in 2020, we were at 31 events nationwide. In this past year, 2025, we were up to 140 events nationwide, a growth rate of 352%. We were in 71 cities in the United States across 11 different states. And in that same time frame, guest users um, of Momentum Refresh at these events grew from 111 guests in 2022 to over 15,000 people we supported in 2025. That growth rate of the number of people we supported is over 13,000 people. And the attendance at these events that we've been supporting is nearing and approaching 11 million people. So it's an incredible growth rate. We're super excited to be a part of all of these events across the country. And we also provide tours of our units at these events. It's really an opportunity for us to provide education and support a lot of different advocacy efforts of folks to support accessibility and inclusion. We provide about 5,000 tours at these events across the country while we're there as well, so people understand what it is we're trying to accomplish and support across the country.
Amazing. And, in order to really facilitate that growth, it really sounds like this community connection, right? And working hand in hand with, event organizers, with the community that you're actually directly servicing with the mobile units is really key to make this work. How has establishing these connections within the community, allowed you to grow? And also, is this connection to momentum also helping kind of facilitate and open some of these doors as well, especially in the LA metro area?
Yeah, Grayson, great question. It's been a great opportunity. Certainly, being a part of an organization that has been around for over 80 years with very strong community ties, not only in the greater LA area, but the California area, well-known national organization. There are some ties and some partnerships that come along with that, but it's such an important part of our work at Momentum Refresh as we look to establish new partnerships and collaborations. It's incredibly important to make those connections at the local level with folks and organizations to really support the overall effort, whether it be a community effort, whether it's a large event or venue that is looking to enhance their ability to support the guests that come to different types of events at their venues. And we work really hard at that because it's really important for longevity, I would say. A couple of really good examples I would use. I've got two examples I'd like to share with you. In the state of Ohio, there is a really strong push to work on efforts to support people with disabilities, veterans, and folks with limited mobility across the entire state. We've developed relationships with a number of county boards of supports for people with developmental disabilities and have connected with different events and venues in their catchment areas to support really ground level community events, whether that is, like I mentioned, an arts festival, whether it's a concert, whether it's a disability event, it might be a road race, a 5K, a marathon. We even supported the Cincinnati Bengals home games in Cincinnati. But those partnerships that we developed and the relationships that result from that are so incredibly important as you look to grow across the country. And, I would say that there's a number of things that come along with developing those relationships. You really have to lead, I think, with a focus on promoting those partnerships, for one. You want to make sure that you're providing the organization with some type of outcome that's going to be important to their success as well. So that's another area where you really want to promote that relationship. You want to create solutions for those local stakeholders and partners so that your solution to them is providing them value as well. I think it's also important in relationship building that you proactively approach relationships and you don't wait until it's a time when you need a partner in that relationship, that you've taken the time to proactively approach that relationship and develop and foster that relationship. And then I think in terms of working on long-term relationships and collaborations, we really approach that by demonstrating those outcomes. And we do that in a couple of different ways. We share the testimonials of the guests that we serve at events about how life-changing this is for them. We've heard so many people say, well, We didn't ever come to the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo before because we weren't going to change our family member on the floor of a dirty bathroom or in the car. So we just didn't ever come before. That's probably one of our largest events each year. 2.7 million people in attendance over the course of 20 days, and we serve about 3,000 guests over the course of that time frame. So that's another thing I would say. We share those testimonials and we capture data, like I had
Yeah.
mentioned, about the usage of the facility during events like that. So that's a little bit of our approach in developing collaboration and partnerships and really how we see that as so important in the success of what we're trying to accomplish at Momentum Refresh.
That was incredible. Thank you so much for that answer. Utilizing data, right, to show value to these community partners, it definitely sounds incredibly important. And we're at the start of a new year, Dan. Tell me a little bit more about what 2026 and the future brings for Momentum Refresh, and how our audience can get involved.
Thank you. That's another great question. 26 is going to be, I think, an incredible year. As I mentioned, our growth rate has been quick and quite astounding. We're looking at growing even further and scaling even larger. We've entered into an exclusive manufacturing agreement with Winnebago to produce our units just as rapidly as we need them for our growth. Our first unit will be coming off of the manufacturing line here within the next month, and we'll be able to produce those units just as readily as we need. We're prepping for our first event. It starts in just about a month here. The Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, I mentioned. We're all over the country, and the Minnesota State Fair is 1.9 million people over 12 days. And we are hitting, like I said, 11 states last year. We've served events in a total of 13 states. Those are a couple of the big things. We're gearing up some for some other hopefully large mega events, as I mentioned before, and really working on some of those large, longer term contracts that I mentioned. A couple of the other efforts that we're really looking forward to establishing are a couple of different options. We are looking at a franchising option, which would be just like any other kind of standard franchising option, a licensing option where an organization, maybe it's a nonprofit that doesn't want to operate a Momentum Refresh vehicle, an economic opportunity, and they just want to use it within their own organization where there wouldn't be charging folks. We've got a licensing opportunity, and we're looking at expanding into our emergency and disaster area a bit more as well. When we had visited a couple of weeks ago or so, I think I mentioned to you that we did deploy during the LA wildfires last year. A group of folks with disabilities was evacuated and displaced into a different residential location that didn't have the accessible restroom features that they needed. And we were able to support that group of folks for upwards of 15 days until they were able to relocate back to their own residential setting. So those are some of the exciting things we've got coming up. People can go to our website, momentumrefresh.com, to learn more about those opportunities that I just mentioned, to look for events that we're going to be attending and set up at so they can come out, enjoy the day, stay all day without worry of any type of barrier for personal care and restroom facilities. So our website is a great spot for that location, Grayson.
Amazing, Dan. The mission is so incredibly important, right? To give this agency and control and normalcy, right, to the community that you support when they come out to these events in times of disaster and emergency. I really appreciate you coming on and sharing more about the mission of Momentum Refresh, and I'm excited to see what 2026 brings.
Awesome. Really appreciate that. Thanks for having us on today. And people can certainly reach out to us with any types of questions by reaching our website. And there's telephone numbers and contact information right there for them. Appreciate it, Grayson.